Good afternoon, everybody, and everyone out there. Welcome to Ohtalks, a webinar series that aims to inform and give insights about property, entrepreneurship, technology, and financial literacy. All subjects that are close to the heart of our prop tech company, Ohmyhome. I'm Julian, the marketing manager of Ohmyhome Philippines, and I'm excited to be your host for today. And for our first episode, we're going to be talking about the different paths to your first million. For all you lovely viewers out there, you can check out the Oh My Home app. It's available on both Apple and Google Play stores for all your property needs. And without further ado, let me introduce our guests for this episode. Our first guest is Gold Aquino. He initially gained popularity as a recording artist of the popular boy band 143. He later cast a wide net in the cafe and food industries and now owns and manages TNC Cyber Café, Zark's burger franchise, and other food stalls. Our second guest is Jeff Albea. He is a former theater actor who designed costumes for stage plays and created wardrobes for celebrities. He is now an international fashion designer who showcased his bridal wear at the London Fashion Week 2017 and New York Fashion Week in 2018. Each year, he designs over 50 custom wedding gowns for local and international clients. Finally, last but definitely not least, is Melina May Napa. May is a virtual student prodigy who held the post of Assumption College Student Council President and graduated from college at age 19. She is now the chairman and managing director of BrainBeam Events Incorporated, a company she started when she was 23. BrainBeam has major lifestyle brands among its clientele, like Nestle Philippines, Century Pacific Food Incorporated, and Robinson's Land Corporation. So let's all greet our good
Hello.
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I hope all of you are doing well. On behalf of Oh My Home, we'd like to thank you for taking the time you have from your busy schedules today. I'm sure our viewers are dying to know about the different paths you took to reach where you are right now. So let's start. Actually, how are all of you doing today?
Good.
I'm very happy that I had an excuse to dress up. I was telling you earlier that I normally am at the back end of the event, so it's nice to be here and to be talking about our my success story as an entrepreneur. And it's nice to be in the company of cute boys. Hi, Golden Jeff.
Hello.
And hello to my husband. That was a joke. Okay.
Well, I hope he's not. He's okay with the joke.
He's watching.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's fine.
So let's start with the questions. I think these sets of questions are for everybody to take. But let me start off with this one about what was your dream growing up, and how was it different from the path you're on now? Care to start us off first? Jeff, welcome back. Care to start us off to tell us about what was your dream growing up? I think we have some technical difficulties on his part, but perhaps May, you can take the question.
Well, in autograph or slum books when I was younger, I would always write that I wanted to be a lawyer. And because I'm a big talker, and I want to defend those that need defending. And then later on, I wanted to be the next Jessica Soho, and then pretty much after that, I realized that I'm a big talker. I love dealing with people. I love sharing my ideas. So I never expected that I would actually have my own business. So, but when I was younger, I really wanted something along this line already, where I got to talk and I get to chat with a lot of people. Yeah.
How about you, Gold? What was it your goal or dream growing up?
Actually, before I want to be a rock star talaga. And then became a boy band. Yeah, boy bander.
And it's very different actually from what you're doing right now.
Yeah. That's
What
my
was your sorry?
business.
So what was your life like as a young adult who wanted to be a rocker? And yeah,
Okay lang. I mean, chill lang. Medyo busy lang sa business, but ngayon medyo chill na. Like
Okay.
before when I'm starting, syempre sobrang hectic. Pero ngayon medyo okay na. Chill na lang.
Okay, good to know. So, for both of you, what were your fears? So like, upon entering where you are now, your current field in business, both of your entrepreneurial hustles right now.
Well, for the events industry, well, at the start, I wasn't. I feel I wasn't well equipped versus the other maybe people, who own their business as well. I wasn't really like financially, like I don't know financial terms. I wasn't that savvy about it. It was a good thing that my late father was uh was an accountant, so he's huge on numbers. So I had that guidance. But my initial really major fears were really more on the financial side of the business. Like I don't, I don't have billionaire parents. I really pretty much started everything on my own. I was telling Chris, the one who invited me to this talk, that I, my initial investment was an 11,670 fax machine. Because at that time, ganun na po ako katanda. I'm that old that I used to just communicate with my clients using a fax machine. I'm sure Gold has never used a fax machine. Have you?
Natry ko na before.
But that was the primary form of communication that I had with my clients. That was my initial investment, and pretty much, it's me. It's my not to brag or anything, but it's probably my communication skills and my creativity that really got me to where I am. So that was primarily my initial struggle. I wasn't that um, I felt I wasn't that equipped yet in running my own in running my own business.
How about for you, Gold? How did you realize that business is something that you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, actually kasi business ano talaga yung family namin. So no way talaga na doon talaga ako kahit gusto ko maging rockstar or ano, doon talaga yung core values ko mag-business. So yun.
So at this point, I'm sure our viewers would really like to get to know each of you more. So let me ask questions to each one of you on the path you took to get where you are right now. Let's start with Gold. Um, I guess he's the youngest of us here.
Yes.
So Gold, how did you end up in 143? That band that you were part of. How was it like?
Before kasi sumali ako ng Mr. CEU. I'm from CEU kasi. And then si Sir Chris, siya yung parang judge doon. So doon niya ako na-discover. And then yun, nag-143 na ako.
So how did your family like react to this? Like you're now you were then a boy band member.
Siyempre, nung first, sobrang shock sila kasi parang hindi nila naisip na mag-showbiz ako and all. Ngayon, pero yun, nung tumagal, medyo sumisikat ng konti, medyo natanggap na nila, medyo proud na rin sila. So, ayun, yun, okay naman.
And then may I ask, what pushed you to leave the music scene?
Actually, medyo, yun nga, yung nagmamature na ako, medyo nagsasawa na rin ako sa limelight. So, at saka medyo gusto ko na rin mag-focus talaga sa business kasi yun talaga yung pinaka gusto kong gawin. So, yun, kaya nag-leave ako sa band.
And then that's actually a pretty interesting jump, like having to switch from music to the world of business. How was it for you? How was the transition?
At first, sobrang hirap kasi medyo bata pa ako noon. And then, syempre, galing ako sa showbiz eh. So, sa business, medyo hindi nila ako sineseryoso kasi bata pa ako from showbiz. So, ayun, simula, medyo nag-grind ako, medyo ayun. Pero, so far, nung nag-grind talaga ako and then naging confident ako sa magagawa ko, ayun, napatunayan ko rin yung sarili ko.
So what was the first move you did for business? Like, could you tell us about how TNC, how you got involved or started with TNC?
Ayun, nag-start talaga ako after 143. Yung naipon ko sa 143, nag-open ako ng nag-franchise ako ng TNC kasi sobrang hardcore gamer ako kahit nung simula ng bata pa. So, ayun, yun doon nag-start and then nag-grow din naman. Ngayon, may 5 na ako na franchise ng TNC and then may mga franchise din ako ng Zarks and iba pang mga investment.
Wow, that's really really impressive for starting at a young age to have all of those investments. Maybe ask though, how did you know which companies to invest in, which franchises like Zarks? Why did you choose Zarks or TNC?
Yung TNC talaga, alam ko kasi magiging big yung esports eh. So, at saka gamer ako. So, nag-start talaga sa passion ko yung TNC nga. And then yung Zarks, actually friend ko kasi, siya yung may-ari talaga ng Zark. So, nag-franchise ako doon. So, ayun. Pero ngayon, focus ako sa stock market. Doon talaga ako focus ngayon. Dahil nga quarantine, yung mga cyber cafes like parang medyo laggard. So, focus ako ngayon sa investing ng stock market, sa stock market.
How has it been so far?
Actually, good. Kasi, syempre, nagka-pandemic, sobrang cheap ng mga stocks. So, yun, sobrang mura. Bargain yung mga stocks ngayon. So, lahat umakyat. So, yun. Doing great.
Oh, so really, really interesting story. So, but out of all of the things that you've achieved so far, what would you say is the one thing that you're most proud of as an achievement in the business world?
Actually, proud ako sa TNC. Kasi sobrang big ng ngayon, ng esports. And then yung pro team, yung TNC pro team is like one of the best sa world. So yun, proud ako doon kasi part ako.
But right now, what is the investment that you are most excited about? You mentioned stocks.
Yeah, actually stock market. Stock market. Yun yung pinaka big investment ko ngayon.
Right. Okay. So if we may ask though, where are you staying right now in the quarantine? At home?
Actually, nag-rent ako sa One Castilla place near Gilmore.
Oh, okay.
DMCI Homes.
Oh, from DMCA Homes. So do you have any investments in like property as like your different I guess different franchises you have? Like where are they located?
I'm actually focus ako sa sa province kasi mas maganda magtayo ng doon ng mga cafes. So, meron ako sa Rizal, Binangonan, Cebu, Fairview, Bulacan, yan.
Oh, that's cool. I actually live in Fairview and I see that cyber.
I have TNC Dahlia in Dahlia.
Yeah, and yeah, it's pretty near my place. So we actually have a question from the audience. Okay, so this is for Gold. When you invested in TNC, do you have maybe bank properties or rental properties? Do you have for lease? About it.
What's it again?
Sorry, when you invested in TNC, may ibang properties or rental properties for lease po ba kayo? Is the question.
Wala akong for lease. Nakikita ko lang yung mga yung nagsa-search lang sa internet ng mga leasing na mga gusto kong place and then doon ako nag-start.
Okay, it's good to know. It's good to know. Actually, May, do you have any like thing you wanted to ask Gold? It's a really interesting story.
Because I think Gold and I share the same, parang, because he was saying, passion niya talaga yung esports. That's why, he really got into this business of his now. So it's the same with me, where passion talaga plays a very vital role in the success of any business. Because of course, you need to be, parang every cell in your body should be excited about your business, diba? So he's excited about his esports. I'm excited about, my brainstorming sessions that come to life, ideas that I have only in my head that I think about in the shower, let's say, or while going home on the road, and then eventually it's brought to life, and it's actualized in an event, is something that I think successful business owners must possess. They really have to be extremely passionate about, every cell in their body should love, and parang should love what yung parang ano yung ginagawa nila. You just don't do it for the sake of, but
Mhm.
you really should love it, and it should be really something that you sincerely care about, diba? Parang ganun. So it's nice that we at least share the same, we share that one thing in common.
Yeah, so actually, we have another question from the audience for Gold. The question is, what tips do you have for wannabe investors, or I guess wannabe entrepreneurs, and like how to start? What would be your advice for them?
Pinaka-advice ko talaga is hanapin nila yung passion nila. Hindi naman talaga kailangan it's all about business. Kahit na ano, basta yung kung ano yung passion nila, dun sila mag-start. And then, magka-follow na rin yun eh, yung ibang mga bagay. So, passion muna talaga for me.
So I think it's really sound advice that works has worked well for both you and me in your business journey. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gold, for sharing your path with us. And let's welcome our speakers back. This time, May, let's get to know you a bit more. Okay. So what was your path like from college to transitioning to being a professional?
Um, so, you know, during the introduction, you pretty much nailed it when you said that. Well, I'd like to think I'm really an overachiever. Like when I was in grade school, I graduated valedictorian, so that must really say how much of an overachiever I was. I'm like, really into extracurricular activities. Like I had a ton of clubs during high school, and then come college, I really wanted to take a pre-med. I actually wanted to be a doctor. Parang syempre, eventually when you get into school, you kind of know what you want to be like when you grow up. So I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician. So I told my mom I wanted to take up psych in college, and my mom, that my wonderful fantastic mother, told me no. Because I wanted to study in UP, and she thought it was far. I'm the only girl, all these things. So what happened was I got into Assumption College San Lorenzo, and I studied. I took up comm because I thought, okay, if I can't be a doctor, if I can't be a pediatrician, then I might as well, do what I do best, and that's talk and be creative. And advertising was pretty much, spot on with that particular dream of mine. And I'm in my element when I'm talking. So I took up advertising, graduated when I was a little over 18. A little over. I just turned 19 when I graduated. Actually, because I skipped grade 7, and I didn't yeah, I don't do kinder, or yeah. So I'm pretty young for my batch. And then what's amazing was advertising really was na parang the perfect course for me, because it was I took up advertising and public relations, and so when I graduated, I got into um, a below the line agency. So they do a lot of parang artworks for creatives, like brochures, printed materials for advertising and all that. And that was pretty much how my career in this industry started. Because my mom said no, no, you cannot be a doctor, honey. So yeah, which turned out to be pretty awesome for me. So I thank her every day for really being the voice of reason, and she's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive actually, your academic background.
I'm a nerd. I'm a proud nerd. Yeah.
So were there any early work experiences that pushed you to start being your own boss at 23 when you started
Right.
BrainBeam?
Um, okay. So my first and only job was right after college. I was 19 when I started working for this below the line agency. I worked there for 3 years. Um, it was tough primarily because my bosses, not to badmouth them or anything, but my bosses really made me take on so many things in the job, right? So from working in the creative side of that agency, they made me transfer to the events group. So I started doing events management when the events industry was still pretty much parang bago pa lang siya. It was an up and coming tool for clients to talk to their consumers better. So I was assigned to head that particular division, and I was ridiculously tired. I was like doing 7 events in a day.
Sure.
So my dad was like, Melina, I think you have to rest. You have to because it was taking its toll on me health wise. And then I'd get really anxious because I want everything to be perfect, so I won't sleep and all that. So I decided to maybe it's best for me to just focus on one account, which I was my vision when I was gonna transfer to a bigger agency. But then in between transferring, so I was already on my medical with this big agency. In between transferring, an old client of mine, PLDT, I can mention because I owe everything to them. My old PLDT client told me, May, you wanna do first, some freelance work for me? And I was like, sure, because I wasn't doing anything yet. I was still on my medical. I was doing my medical for the other agency. And then when I did this freelance work, he absolutely loved the work that I did and told me, I'm just gonna be paying you for it. And it was a huge amount. It was an 800,000 project. And I was like, what will I do with this money, right? What will I was so, but in millennial term, na shook ako. I was so shook. I was like, no, I just want to do this freelance. And he was like, no, you're doing a great job. You're so focused and all that. So that kicked off my events career, actually. I discontinued I wasn't naman signed pa with a contract anyway. So I didn't continue my big agency work. I decided, okay, I'll do this for real with the push of my parents that I can actually do it. I got an old office mate of mine to be my administrative director, and he's been with me since the start. He's still with me until now. He started na parang I was telling him, 2,000 ang sweldo mo. I'm just gonna give you 2,000 as your salary because, we don't have money. And then he was like, yes, because I know you'll take me places. And now, he's had like a change of car like 3 times. He's been with me on this roller coaster ride of a success, and all because I think the secret of my success story versus goals is that I have humble beginnings, and I had parents who believed in me big time, who pushed me, and they knew my potential even before I realized it myself. And I think one key factor is really you have to be brave because running a business is scary. There are things, there's BIR stuff that I do not know. There's, diba, Gold? Like, I'm sure you have like, what in the world is input output tax? What is that, Papa? And but now I'm here. I got to where I am because I kicked ass. I just really chose to be brave and really did it for myself and for my family.
Well, great, colorful story there. So may I ask, when did you start getting a return on your investment, and how did you know that BrainBeam was there to stay?
Yeah. So I think my parameter for like when I was like, oh, I made it, and andito na ako sa rurok ng tagumpay in English for our foreign viewers. I'm at this moment in my life where I can pretty much do anything I want, and I'm at this pedestal where I'm pretty much awesome, and anything that I do will be great. I realized that when I was already able to hear stories of my employees, success stories. Like my employees would tell me, I sent so and so to ballet school. I bought my first car. Miss May, I helped my parents buy this. I bought this for myself. Their successes are my successes, and I knew that okay, I'm already helping a lot of people through my company. That was when I started feeling like, okay, this is something major already. Aside from, investments wise, we were already able to, we were able to purchase vehicles for the agency. I was already able to hire more people to do more jobs for us because there was a really big demand already in terms of clients asking us to do their events for them. So the initial investments that I made were really still about the agency, equipment, um, improving the skills of the employees, having them take seminars, having them take, it really investing on the people, making sure as well that we were well equipped in terms of like, because in events, it's very heavy also on manpower. So I was able to already hire a lot of people to be doing events for us. So I think that was the turning point for me. I think my investment of 11,670 that fax machine tripled, doubled, quadrupled in a matter of maybe my first million came in mga like 2 years pa naman after. Because of course you had to still pay a lot of things and invest in a lot of things. So
Okay, that's a really, really cool story. But we
yeah,
have actually two questions from the audience right now. So the
sure.
first question is, did part of your earnings go towards buying your own home?
Surprisingly, I am the perfect example of an Ilocana. I'm really, really thrifty. Okay, I'm barat. That's yeah. So no, to be honest, I did not buy a house yet. I was living with my parents um for a very long time. Not because I couldn't afford a house, but really because we're a very tight knit family. But aside from that, my to me, I just as a trivia, I do not buy anything brand new. My all the cars that I've had in the past are all secondhand. I'm a firm believer that it's function over SaaS. I'm the type where if you need a car, I drove the very first car that I invested in for the agency was an adventure. What's a Mitsubishi Adventure? I'm 4'11", guys. I'm sure I don't look like that, but I'm 4'11". I drive a huge car, and I use that to deliver stuff for our events. And that was my main investment, just because it's function over, my clients won't see me naman when I drive up the Nestle driveway. They won't see me in my barombado car, right? So I didn't have to buy like some fancy BMW, So I just invested in something that would really serve its function, its purpose. So for the house, because I was doing all these things all together, and I needed still the support system of my family. I just stayed with them for a long time. I bought my house, believe it or not, when I got married, and I got married really late. I got married when I was 32. So my husband and I initially lived in an apartment. We had savings from our wedding because all of my suppliers were like, Miss May, we'll take care of things for you. So we had a lot of savings. Those savings, I renovated the apartment that we didn't even own just because I wanted to have a really nice place na uuwian namin where we would live. And we bought our house just in 2015, believe it or not, Julian. And just it's just because I feel like owning a house, you need to buy a house when you're ready to take care of a house. You just don't buy a house just because, I want to have a place to live. You have to be ready. Pag nasira yan, if your house leaks, your roof leaks, you have to be prepared to take care of your house. It's just like having children. Buying a house is a really important investment, and you only buy that when you're ready.
Right. That's a really good piece of advice about home buying to really
Yeah.
like be ready for the commitment.
It's a commitment to own a house. Absolutely.
Right, right. Another question from our audience is, what are your tips for people in their 20s, Miss May?
Oh, interesting. I love that question because I started BrainBeam when I was 23.
Mhm.
And, I just like Gold, where he was saying, hindi ako siniseryoso, people don't take me seriously because I look so young, and I'm starting a business that I was, a certain age. It's all about, number one, it's all about projection. When I was 23, I had I wore glasses. I did not even need glasses. Now I do now. But I used to not need it. I would wear glasses just because I'm so young looking. People think, I always hear it all the time from my clients. Parang inutusan lang na bumili ng suka. It's like this girl, her mom just asked her to buy vinegar, and incidentally, she had a business. They would always judge me based on how I looked. Because age really does play a factor in the success of running a business. People would think she's inexperienced, she doesn't know what she's doing. But you know what? That's why passion will play a very vital role in the success of your business. No one can tell me how to make a concept for, let's say, a launch. Only I can do that. Only I can think out of the box. Why? Because my training is to really create event concepts. You have to be in a business that you're good at. Wag yung parang, oh, because now everything's selling, food is in. I will sell food. No. You do something that you absolutely know the ins and outs about, so that when people ask you or tell you things, you can always dispute that because you know everything about it, di ba? You can't tell me, May, this is how to make a creative brief, because I do freaking good creative briefs. You know what I'm saying? So, you have to be in a job. So for the people, okay, and the people in your 20s, you are so fickle-minded, guys. Stop that. Stay in one place. Stay in a place where you will learn. Don't say, I have a bigger mission, I have to leave. I hire millennials, and they want to leave after 2 seconds. But I'm proud of this one millennial that's still in my agency, Liza. Shout out to you. She stuck it out. I was telling her, Liza, you do not leave just because you feel like it, or just because you want another job or you want another experience. You learn from here. You stay here, you learn, absorb everything, do the dirty work, learn from me, listen to your peers in the agency, and you will later on do a better job. She's been with me now for 4 years, I believe. Stay in your jobs, guys. Those in your 20s, stay in your jobs, learn from it, absorb everything, and later on you can start your own business. And how do you do that? When you already know the ins and outs of that particular thing you want to do in your life. Like, I'm sure Gold, hindi mo siya pwede lokohin. You can't like tell him up anything about esports that he doesn't know about. Right? Right,
Yeah.
Gold? You know everything. I don't know anything about esports, so I won't even talk to you about that. And you don't know anything about events for sure. So you call me when you need me, but I'm saying, right? But I'm saying you should be in the play. If you're in your 20s, and not this advice is just not for the 20-year-olds, but for everyone who wants to start a business, be in a place where you will excel in. Be in that spot na excellent ka. Don't just go do a business because it's uso, it's the fad, it's the next big thing. No, get into a business that you are good in.
I think all of those, it's a really, really great piece of advice. Advice. I think it was a block of advice actually made. And
Yeah.
I'd like to also ask Gold the same question. It's a really good question. Gold, do you have any tips for those who are young and starting off in their careers?
Ayun, for me talaga, pag bata ka, kailangan mag-explore ka, hanapin mo yung passion mo. And then after nun, hindi mo naman kailangan ng business agad eh. Kasi
Right.
yung ibang tao, iniisip nila parang business, yun na yung talagang, yun talaga yung sa success na talaga yung business. Actually, hindi naman eh. Hanapin mo lang yung passion mo. Kahit maging singer ka or kahit na painter. Basta, diretso ka lang doon saan ka magaling. Sabi nga ni Miss May, kung saan ka nag-excel, doon ka talaga mag-focus. Kasi pagpipilit mo yung business, pero hindi ka naman talaga business-minded, walang sense. So, for me, habang bata ka, hanapin mo yung passion mo. Tapos yun, doon lang. Stay in your lane. Yun yung advice ko sa mga mas bata.
Actually,
Mas bata sa amin, which is like, 10 years old. Mas bata sa amin.
actually, really, really great quote there, Gold. Stay in your lane. So for the younger crowd out there, stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, guys. That's true. And, I totally agree with Gold. Parang, they always think, pag business ko, I have my own time. I will have my, running a business is no joke, guys. If you're an employee, you get your sweldo, you get your salary 15-30. With us, if we don't make profit, we don't get anything. And we worry about people having to get their salaries, right? So it's not a walk in the park. Absolutely no joke to start a business. So since if you're still young, learn, correct, si Gold, absorb everything, experience everything, be a sponge. Then you decide what you want to do later on in your life.
So I think we already have an answer to the next question, but I'll still ask it. This is for me. So comment said, what was the push or the main reason you started your business? Did you always plan to be a business owner and just needed the capital?
I had no plans whatsoever. Again, if you're an employee, you just wait for the money, right? But and I didn't want that headache of having to worry about other people, particularly employees paying taxes, thinking of your overhead and all that. I think my main push was really because I saw that it was something I could actually do, and that was a big kudos to my parents for recognizing that when PLDT gave me that freelance work, I actually realized, yeah, I actually did everything on my own. I talked to the suppliers. I talked to the malls because it was a mall show. I mounted it all on my own, well, together with my administrative director, Manuel. I did it all on my own. So that was when I realized that I can actually do this professionally. I don't, the only thing that was stopping me was because I was afraid that I did not have the so-called business background to do it. So I think it was partly divine providence, partly, the push from my parents, and partly me being, being brave enough to recognize the fact that I can actually do it. So, in terms of capital, my investment initially was just that. At first, I was holding office in our basement, and then eventually I felt this is so not professional because I'm really big on professionalism. So, rented a very small office, and then pretty much that jump started my whole events management career. So start small, diba, Gold? Start small, and then do your best, diba?
We have an interesting question for both of you from the audience. I guess you can relate this with passion. Both of your advice about passion. So the question is, what are your hobbies growing up? Gold. Can you take first
What are
crack?
our hobbies growing up? That's the question.
Yeah.
That's
So,
very
hobbies ko talaga, video games, collecting cards, basketball cards, Pokemon cards, and I'm buying and selling it also. So, doon ko nakita na talagang business-minded ako. simula bata. So, ayun, yun yung hobbies ko.
Actually, it's quite evident that you are a TNC and gamer kasi you have a gaming chair.
Yeah.
Oo nga.
Sa girlfriend
I'm
ko to
in the dining room, he's in his gaming chair.
So, meron siyang studio dito. So, hiniram ko muna.
That's cool. That's so cool. How about you, May? What were your main hobbies growing up?
I am a dancer. I love to dance. I actually am. I actually had a. I took an RAD test. It's called. It's the Royal Academy of Dancing International Test for Ballerinas. And I topped that. See, overachiever nga, overachiever daw. So I topped that. I was a ballerina for 9 years. I actually still, I taught ballet for a time as well to 3-year-olds. My son is celebrating his birthday on Monday, and he's having a dance concert. So it's cool that my son also loves to dance. So dance was a really big part of me growing up, and the discipline of dance is also something that's very important, and something that played a big role also in my successes. But yeah, dance was some, and studying. Just kidding. Dance and study. What a nerdy quest. What a nerdy answer. Anyway, yeah.
It's cool to know. Cool to know. How, another question from our audience. I'll ask both of you. So let's throw the question at Gold first. How do you balance being the chairman or the owner between your family or personal life? Paano mo siya nababalanse?
Does Gold have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So how are you able to balance it with your business?
Okay. For me talaga importante yung balance eh. So, ayun, gawin mo lang yung mga importante mong gawin, and then wag mong kakalimutan mag-relax. Kasi yung iba masyadong focus talaga sa wala yung problema maging focus, pero importante talaga yung balance eh. Yung yin and yang, yun yung talagang mantra ko, yung yin and yang, na maging balance ka lang, work and chill, di ba? So, yun.
How about you, May?
When I was younger, I had absolutely no work-life balance, to be honest. Because I was trying to build my empire, and events for the people out there, the events industry is unfortunately really for single people. Kasi you will really not have that much time Like, kunwari, Christmas, rather than being, at home, you would set up at the malls because they have a Christmas event, So it was tough for me at first. I think now I have the luxury of it just because I have a really competent team that, that helps me out, run the shows for me. Work-life balance now, as I realized later on, growing older is super important. So now, that's why I also married late, Julian, and Gold, please stay late. May tip ako kay Gold talaga. Is because you experience everything first. Travel alone. I'm sure I dare you guys to travel alone. Not now, in the pandemic, when things are better. Travel alone, experience life. I'm a huge tennis fan. Oh, that's one of my hobbies as well. I'm a huge tennis fan. I'm a huge Roger Federer fan. I went to see him at the Australian Open in 2011 alone. So do that, guys. Like, do that. Experience the world. And then when you're older and you have a family, the work-life balance is that you know your priorities. You should know when to choose work over play. Or when to choose work over family. No-brainer yan. Always choose your family because your family will never leave you. Pag sinabi ng boss mo sa'yo na hindi, kailangan mo to gawin, your boss is, okay. Your boss, change your boss. Because, they should realize that, what you can do today naman, what you can't do today, you can still do tomorrow. But when you leave your family, you take them for granted. That's actually a bigger chunk that you have to resolve later on in life. So work-life balance is important. Good for you, Gold, that you have a girlfriend. You go, Gold.
Actually, thank you, Maya. Really interesting for me to know both of your stories. As a fellow marketer, May, I'm deeply impressed with your grit and determination, how it's paid off for you so far. And as also a longtime video gamer,
Oh wow.
also at how you've done your passion, transformed it to your business, basically. For the next set of questions, though, of this next section, I'll ask both of you questions regarding your first million. Because now we've talked about the path you took, so let's talk about your wealth, basically the wealth you earned from your business.
Is the
Okay,
BIR here? When we talk about our wealth?
they're blocked. They're blocked.
I'm
So,
just kidding. I
so
see my taxes.
yeah. How did you make, or what was the story behind your first million in your respective businesses? Gold. How was it for you?
At first talaga, may naipon ako ng konti nung nagbo-boy band ako. And then, honestly, humiram talaga ako ng konting capital din sa parents ko. So, combination. And then, nakapag-start ako ng small lang na cafe. And then yan, doon na ako nagsimula. Then nag-grow ako.
Mhm.
Doon ako nag-start talaga actually.
So when you were already running your business and you were earning, how did you feel? Like when you made your first million or like a significant amount of money from your business, your investment?
Like at first, syempre nakaka-overwhelm kasi medyo bata pa ako noon eh. So, bili ako ng ganito, bili ako ng ganyan. Pero ngayon, nung medyo tumatanda na, nagmamature na, parang na-realize ko na hindi na importante yung mga ganung bagay. Sobrang kailangan mo maging humble kasi lalo na ngayon sa generation ko, talagang uso yung parang flex, mga ganyan, yung bili ka naman hindi mo kailangan. So, na-realize ko sobrang hindi talaga importante yung mga ganung bagay. So, mag-invest ka na lang para sa sarili mo at saka yung mga importanteng bagay lang, like yung mga basic necessity. And then yung mga sale, kunyari sale sa Zara, H&M or whatever, hindi importante yun. So, ayun.
Okay, okay. So when you made that first million, so to speak, how did you invest it or how did you spend it that time from your business?
Yeah, nung nakaipon ako, talaga nag-invest talaga ako. Yun yung pinaka-priority ko is mag-invest, like i-expand yung cafes. And then, yun nga, may bago akong new talaga. Yung pinaka-gusto ko talaga ngayon is stock market. So, doon talaga ako nagpo-focus ngayon. So, halos lahat ng mga naipon ko and lahat ng ini-invest ko sa stocks.
Hmm. Great to know. How about you, May? How did you make, or what was the story behind your first million, and how you felt? How did you feel when you made it?
So when I started the agency, it took a while also for me to sort of like realize that okay, this is for real. It's really just my own and all that. Um, so I started BrainBeam in 2002. In 2004, we were so lucky because because people were also already hearing about this agency's very good when it comes to implementing events and all that. Nestle, an old client of mine, transferred to Nestle and asked me to pitch for a project. So it was a school tour. It was a 100 schools school tour. Okay, so it was for Milo. I think I can mention that. So I pitched for it. I know we were about, I think, 7 or 8 agencies, and we actually won the pitch. And we were a relatively new agency, so it was awesome that we were able to get the nod from brand. But then they realized that I was a single proprietorship agency. So another tip for future entrepreneurs is incorporate, because there are just so many benefits to it. And I incorporated in 2004 with so now it's like a technically a family run business, but then I'm really just the brains behind it. But that pretty much catapulted my whole parang the success of BrainBeam of my company. That was also when I made my first um, that million. I think because na rin of the trusted, the number of clients who continued to trust us, that was when the money started coming in as well, and I was able to make investments already, like expanding my team. I agree with Gold that, again, your always naman ang thinking mo is, when you get your first million, it's not, yes, I'm gonna buy a car, or yes, I'm gonna buy a house finally. It's expanding the business that's raking in the money for you to be able to make more, diba? To be able to help more people, to be able to employ more people, to be able to get more accounts. Because I needed to upgrade and get more people just so we can accommodate more accounts coming in, diba? From the various clients, because Nestle was just one client, PLDT was still there, Standard Chartered was still there, PB was still there. So I had to invest in people. I had to invest in renting an office officially and all that. So the first million will still always go back to the business, diba, Gold? It will still always go back to expanding, your bread and butter. Parang ganun.
So for both of you, actually, I'm interested to know, were there any people who were key or instruments of success that you enjoyed from your business journey?
Ako, I agree with Gold. It's the same for me. My initial investment was my fax machine, but in order to run the mall event that I had to do, I had to also loan money. And because my dad worked in a bank, he helped me with, Melina, this is how you do this is how you loan. So I loaned, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I loaned 150,000 pesos just to be able to run yung operational costs ng event. And I was able to pay it immediately because when client paid us rent, parang, okay to parang gano'n. That was when I realized, parang, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make money out of this. And all I needed to do was talk and be uber creative with my ideas and all that. So in terms of the people, you need a good financial advisor for sure. You need a financial advisor, and you need a damn good lawyer. Not because you're gonna get sued, but because you always need advice when it comes to doing legal stuff within the agency. Ano yung certified ng DOLE na pwede mong gawin? Ano yung di mo pwedeng gawin in terms of, kunwari, hiring people? What are the do's and don'ts? So you need those people in your roster. So pay your auditor well, guys. Pay your taxes well. And, have that on your team. A good lawyer and a good accountant or financial advisor.
Right.
Sure.
For you, Gold, how was it? Or is there any particular person or tao that helped you out? Or was important in your growth in your business?
Actually, my parents talaga kasi yun talaga doon kami nag-started. Before every day, every dinner, pinag-usapan business. Kala ko dati, so
oh, wow.
boring for me sa time na yun. Pero nung tumanda ako, na-realize ko na sobrang nakatulong yun
sa... You got a lot from that. Oh.
And then yung advice ko rin naman sa mga bata and sa mga ka-age ko, sobrang importante yung kasama mo, like yung mga friends mo. Kasi sino yung nakasama mo, yun yung mag-feed din sa'yo eh. And then, pinag-help sa'yo sa kung anong gagawin mo. So, kung sino yung kasama mo, yun talaga. Importante yung mga friends.
I agree with Gold on that. Yeah. You have to surround yourself with people that will allow you to grow. Diba? And you have to have a fantastic team. Diba, Gold? I'm sure you would agree with me. My team is so fantastic. Oh my gosh. And they're watching now. And, and they're all joking about, getting their bonuses and everything. And I'm big on, I'm really big on investing in my team. Talaga, we travel together, mga ganyan. So you have to have a kick-ass team. Kasi, especially in my case, diba, na I do events management. Even if magandang idea ko, even I have the most brilliant, out-of-the-box, spectacular concept, if the team cannot do it or implement it on ground, it won't succeed, it won't fly. So, and I'm so lucky I have the best team in the world.
Good to know. They say that execution is always as important as the
Yeah,
strategy.
and
Right?
and only a great team can do that for you. Yeah.
So for both of you, how can people who feel trapped, like financially challenged, they feel like they're trapped or stuck where they are in perhaps in a job or even with the businesses that they're trying to start up. They're stuck there, and let's say they're dreaming of having more financial independence. They want to own their own home or even able to rent in a place where they want to live. What's the advice that you can give them so that they can overcome those challenges? Gold, do you have any advice to give those people?
For me, kailangan magkaroon ka ng goal eh. So, yung goal na yan talaga kailangan focus ka lang even marami kang problems or financial na problem. Kailangan magkaroon ka ng goal na kailangan tuloy-tuloy lang, diretso ka lang doon sa goal mo, and then for sure, one day, makuha mo naman yan. So, yan. Focus lang sa goal.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes with your quote earlier, stay in your lane. How about you?
I agree with Gold on because obviously you have to have that particular end goal in mind to be able to if you get excited kasi if parang I'm about to, let's say lang, I'm about to earn this and I can finally purchase my house. You really have to keep your eye on the ball. That's true, no? What Gold was saying, that it's essential for you to set your mind into something first. What is it that you really want? Because you will do anything and everything to get to that goal. It's just like panliligaw, right, Gold? You feel, you know in your heart you're gonna get the girl soon, right? You even work harder. Diba? You shower her with whatever because you know that, okay, I can feel it in my bones, malapit na. This is the end. She'll say yes to me. So it's just
important. Basta important realistic for you eh.
Yes. Not it's good to have something that's a little more ambitious just so you'll work harder. Diba? But not something, yes, na tipong, I want to, own a house beside the Buckingham Palace. I mean, also have to have realistic goals, But again, for me personally, also learn to not, this is so cliche, but learn to save. Learn to also save. Tama yung sasabi ni Gold eh. Not even if it's Lazada sale, you don't have to buy. Do you really have to buy? Even if it's just 230 pesos, that's still 230 pesos. All I'm saying is make good use of your money. Buy something that you will not regret in 2 or 3 days, or you will no longer need in 2 or 3 days. I only have one designer bag. Maybe 2. Okay. My husband might be, parang liar ka doon. Okay, 2. So I have 2 designer bags. That's it. And why did I buy that? One big, one small. Just so when my clients see me, parang, okay. Because you still have to project that image, right? But you don't need 10 bags. Why do you need 10 bags? Right? Why do you need a luxury car? When, the driver just pretty much bababa ka lang doon sa driveway, tapos bababa ka na. So, you don't need to be fancy. So all we're saying is be smart about your choices when it comes to money and when it comes to where you are going to invest and you're going to put that money, that hard-earned money that you have.
We have a comment here from someone named Mr. Eric Del Pilar. I think this goes for Gold. He says, is staying in your lane or is staying in your lane same as staying in your comfort zone?
Nice question. For me, yeah. Comfort zone mo, basta importante, yun yung passion mo, yung comfort zone mo. Kung yung comfort zone mo is hindi yun yung passion mo, medyo nagko-contradict eh. So, importante hanapin mo yung yung passion mo, siguro yun na rin yung comfort zone mo, tapos doon ka na mag-work around it. So for me, yeah, pwede.
Okay. And then Sorry.
Julian, I think lang, sorry if I may answer Eric's question. When you stay kasi comfort zone, that's something na parang, ito na ako, okay na ako dito. That doesn't work in business. What we're saying is, what we're saying is, I think what Gold was trying to say is stay in your lane is, if you've already determined what you're really good at, what you're excellent at, what will bring in the money and the comfortable life for you, yun dun ka. You keep going at it, staying in your lane, being, talagang self-improving. Kasi syempre pag sinabi mo kasing comfort zone, parang meron yun, medyo negative yun, yung parang ayaw mo mag next step or ayaw mo maging brave. So kami, we're really more on kung saan ka magaling, stay there, and because that's where you're excellent at already, and then do everything you can to improve, keep improving, so that eventually it'll bring you that comfortable life you dream about.
Right. So, may I ask both of you though, if you could do it all over again, kung kaya niyong ulitin o ibalik yung oras, would you change anything in your path so far?
Kala ko webinar to, parang naiiyak ako. Yes. Bakit parang drama episode na to?
MMK pala.
Well, because I just suddenly remembered my dad, and he just passed away a year ago.
Oh.
So why am I crying? My husband might kill me. Why are you crying in your webinar? If I could just go back, I want, one last hug with my dad. But yeah, other than that, everything that I have done, I've sacrificed, I've worked hard for, is, brought me here, brought me to where I am today. I'm able to help a lot of people through this company. I'm able to give my family, my mom, my brothers, my children a good life. Not even just a good life, a really comfortable one at that. So I wouldn't change anything, definitely.
How about you, Gold? Anything that you'd want to change from the stuff that you've done so far para makaabot ka dyan, where you are right now?
Wala akong gustong baguhin. Like, lahat nga ng stupid things na ginawa ko before is...
Gagawin mo pa yan.
Hindi naman. Like, hindi siya pinagsiyan kasi ang dami kong, yun nga, yung experience talaga sobrang importante. So, kahit like, stupid yun, o kahit na ano pa yan, experience is experience eh. So, ako wala akong gustong baguhin. Okay. Importante yung future.
Okay, so actually we are nearing the end of our show, but before we do, I'd like to ask you both. We're heading into 2021. We're closing the year. Never mind how 2020 turned out, but we'd like to know, what are your New Year's resolutions, personal or professional, heading into 2021? Gold, ikaw, ano New Year's resolution mo?
This is such a Miss Universe question, though.
It's a pageant.
All right.
Siguro magtipid. Mas magtipid.
Aha!
Mag-settle down.
Wow!
Is your girlfriend watching this episode?
Tulog
How about you, May? So for Gold, it's really to like cut down on spending, magtipid daw. How about you, May? For 2021, what's your resolution?
It's funny. Be more patient with online class. Be more patient with my son's online class. Oh my God. Shout out to all the teachers. If there are teachers watching, you guys rock. You are doing a job, because this work from home online school setup is crazy. I think my New Year's resolution is more personal than anything. For the business, we were in trouble. We are still in trouble, but we are trying to innovate and really cope with this online platform replacement first to the live event. So I think business wise, I want to remain tough, but I want to improve more on being, a more patient mom and and a more level-headed mom when it comes to this whole setup where pretty much everybody's home and everything's just crazy right now. Yeah. So, and I pray the same for the two of you, that we all survive this crazy new setup, right? Of
Yes,
this work from home. Yeah. I hope things are brighter and better in 2021
Thank
for
you
everyone, for
for
all the
thank
viewers.
you for the well wishes. So I'm curious to know. Actually, we're all staying at home. How do you guys plan to like celebrate Christmas at home? Any special projects going on in your home, like for this quarantine Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Gold. You can share anything about what's going on Christmas for you, where you're staying at.
Um, well, manuwi lang ako sa family namin. Actually, near lang, QC. So, bahay lang. Yun lang, wala ko isip eh.
It's more really relaxing or kicking back, joining with family. How about you, May, for this Christmas?
This Christmas is very sad because usually, because nga I own an events management company, my family, my relatives' mommy side enjoys, I really do games, talaga hardcore. We compete and it's super fancy. Like our Christmas 25, December 25 dinner is like, one big event in the family. So this time around, everybody will just be, we said we have to abide by protocols. Guys, please do stay at home. It's just 1 year, hopefully. So we're all just staying in our respective homes, probably coordinate, I'm going to coordinate a Zoom kind of just, party of some sort. But gift giving will be fairly easier. We'll just maybe, send everybody GCs or something. You have to really adapt. You can't keep complaining, guys. We have to stop complaining. Just adapt and continue to work hard and continue to thrive even in this pandemic. I mean, it's horrifying that people are still on the pandemic story. We are living it,
Hmm.
thriving it, diba? Tama na yung stories. Get back to work and, and get try to get back to life without having to infect other people outside of
Correct,
your
correct.
house, no? So yeah,
So
to stay
yeah,
at home.
all great words of advice, and I'm sure our viewers, myself, and also myself, have learned a lot from the insights both you have shared with us. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have left with our wonderful speakers, and we also want to apologize to our viewers because we couldn't pull back Mr. Jeff Albea in due to technical difficulties. But before we part, though, before we end the show, for Gold in May, do you have any other things you wanna share with our viewers? Any upcoming projects you have for your respective businesses? You want to share with our viewers here?
Yeah, for me, support lang, TNC Pro Team. Yun lang. TNC Go, number one.
I'm sure we have some people who support the audience. Actually, in backstage,
Sure.
we were discussing one of our teammates is a supporter of a TNC team of gold.
Good job, Gold.
Yeah. How about you, May? Any projects you want to share? Any parting words?
Well, just if there are people if there are viewers that want to mount an event. We do BrainBeam Events is a corporate event. We're an 18-year-old events management company, so we do a lot of corporate event activations. So if you need us, we are on Facebook, and and you can follow if you want. If you feel I'm funny, I think I don't know. You can follow me on my Instagram, BrainBeam. And, just a tip for all the entrepreneurs out there, always plant good seeds. That's really
Mhm.
pretty much what I want to say. Always plant good seeds. Always try to help. Always try to prioritize the greater good. Always take good care of your team. And never forget those that helped you along the way. And I hope you guys learned something from me and Gold today.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people
Chatting with you
learned.
guys.
Actually, I was getting a lot of PMs from friends and
Oh
people
my
in my
lord, my
network.
mother-in-law is watching. So proud of you, mate. That's so cool. Thank
And
you.
actually, after when things normalize, we would love to meet you in person as well.
Oh, I
Have a
love that.
chit chat, talk about possible collaborations. But anyway, thank you so much,
Thank
Jane.
you. Thank
Thank
Oh,
you.
you.
it has been a pleasure to host you today. And we hope to see you soon and we wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you, Gold.
Nice meeting you too.
And before we end, I'd just like to remind everyone to check out the Oh My Home app. It's available on Google Play Store and Apple Store. And also check us out on www.ohmyhome.com for all your property needs. If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent property, we can be with you at every step of the property journey. Please also watch out for the next Ohtalks episode titled Passive Income Opportunities for Beginners, where you will learn what investments will allow you to generate passive income even before you retire. So please watch this space on Facebook and Instagram and wherever your social media is at. And that's it for Ohtalks. This has been Julian from all of us here at Oh My Home. We're signing off. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.
Why is Oh My Home expanding to the Philippines?
The goal of Oh My Home is to be a global player in taking care of everyone's housing transaction journey, starting with the buying, selling, and renting of their homes, and every step after, including the renovation and maintenance of their homes. In Singapore, Oh My Home is a market leader in providing a one-stop shop property solution when it comes to buy, sell, or rent. We're a unique business model which enables us to provide you with a DIY do-it-yourself solution as well as a full-fledged agency service.
Expanding to Philippines is a logical next step for Oh My Home. In Manila alone, in the last 3 years, we've seen an increase of 11.9% on condominium property prices every single year. And in terms of number of transactions, we have also seen it steadily climbing. So in 2018, there's a record of 54,000 condominium transactions, surpassing the previous year of 53,000 condominium transactions. And with such a huge population, it's only natural that only using reliable technology with advanced technology, we're able to extend fast, reliable, efficient service to everyone. And in fact, we're not new in Philippines. We actually have an office in Manila for the last 3 years, and most of our tech team members are Filipinos. So extending our services to Filipinos, it's actually a dream come true for my team. So we're so excited about this.